Hello and welcome to the Leading Lives podcast. According to my guest today, mindset achieves success. Is he right? Let's find out. It's entrepreneur, security operative, actor, goodness knows what else, Marc Smith. Morning, Marc. How are you?
Morning, I'm really well. Thank you for inviting me on.
How'd you get on getting into our chairs? I mean, you're a big guy.
Yeah, just about. It's quite a snug fit, but I like it. It feels good.
Yeah, you should be, like me, tiny. Let's take a look at your early life. You're from around the Poole area. Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
I actually was born Boscombe Hospital when it still existed. I grew up in Winton. I have two brothers, working class family. My father was a car upholsterer, very good at what he did, worked for Rolls-Royce actually.
All right.
My mum, my parents were both still alive. My mum worked in the care industry, works for care homes. I went to a St. Luke's school, went to Winton Boys. It wasn't a hard life, it was just a working class life. We had all the things we needed. We were just a normal family.
I understand that in your school days, you were bullied a bit. Now, looking at the size of you, you're a big and muscly guy. Was it Jason Statham or Chuck Norris or something?
I don't know. I think part of it was the fact that I was a big kid.
Really?
And I think there was a kind of, if we can pick on him or we can have a pop at him, it makes us look cool kind of thing.
So did that shape your future development, how you dealt with life?
Well, it certainly affected some of the choices I made. I mean, I started going to the gym when I was 13, 14. Well, I started training, so I had a couple of dumbbells. Then I went to the gym. But certainly started lifting weights, got into boxing and anything sort of combat related.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I wanted to go into secondary school and go through secondary school and leave that knowing that I could look after myself and be a bit tougher, as I thought. Whatever my conception of tough was as a kid anyway.
There when you needed it.
Yeah, there when I needed it. And so it definitely did make a lot of difference to my life. Yeah.
You started working on doors as security. Yeah. Why did you do that and where?
So I started doing it because, as I said, I love going to the gym. I realised that working the doors at the time meant I could work 4, 5, 6 nights a week and have all my days free. So I could go to the gym, lift weights. The door was easy to me at the time. I started working at the Brass House in Bournemouth, which back then was exclusive. It was over 21s. It was no trainer policy. Everyone had to be smart. It was a really nice place to be. But I only ever intended to do it for 6 months or a year.
Really?
And so I did something else.
And did you have any thoughts as to what you were planning to do?
I wanted to go into the customs and excise.
Really?
And I know it's a strange one, but it was not the monetary side. It was the searching of the boats. I thought it was exciting, working on the borders and stuff like that. But with the introduction of the EEC and the European Union, the border controls got scrapped a lot. So the job was no longer there. And it just so happened that the security company I was working for were actually quite professional, and they started to roll out across the UK. And I started to progress with them, and I actually realised there was a career in security.
I suppose you covered events as well as, doors and things to do.
Yeah, doors, events, lots of stuff.
What kind of events?
Student University Summer Ball.
Okay.
Things like...
Amazing to think that you'd need security.
Yeah, they have a lot of security.
Yeah.
As time went on, I did the Rugby Sevens. I did lots of events. Lots of small ones, large ones.
Okay.
It was lots.
Since you started in the security industry, things have changed massively, particularly with regulation. It's all done by the SIA, is
SIA.
it? Things have come a long way since sort of smoking and bomber jackets, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Has the SIA been successful and has it done a good job?
It's done a very good job. I mean, a lot of people will talk badly of it, and there are a lot of criticisms, rightly so. However, what the SIA did, it came out in 2004, and what it meant is that if you had a criminal conviction, if you were a bully, then you're not getting your licence. Now, it doesn't eliminate everyone, of course, and it also, on the negative side, it eliminates guys and girls that could handle themselves, and you do need that physical presence. And unfortunately, some of those guys could not get licences. Yeah. So it's a catch-22. However, overall, it's definitely a good thing. It means everyone you see on the door is licensed, is criminal checked, and they have a right to work in the UK, and they're legitimate. So it's a good thing.
So give me some of your early encounters that, as a young man, that you found when you started in the security industry.
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's good, there's bad. I mean, I've worked in environments where you've feared for your life.
Yeah.
If I'm honest,
Yeah.
I remember working in a club in Bristol where we had taken on the security contract, not really knowing the threat. The guy that I worked for was extremely professional. He was a former Royal Marine himself, very, very good. And he said, "We've got this contract in Bristol. We need 4 guys. You're going to stay up there. You're going to live there for a couple of months, and you get paid very well for it." I thought, "Oh, this is cool." I was in my 20s. Yeah. What can be easier than that? It's great. So he employed me and a guy called Jamie, a South African guy who was a big bodybuilder guy. And then we had an Australian ex-forces guy called Gary. He was like run the team. And a guy called Steve, who was an ex-Royal Marine. Anyway, we got there, and the first thing we did, the licensee of the pub or club, he says, "Right, you're going to live upstairs. You can't go out in the daytime." So I said, "What do you mean we can't go out in the daytimes?" He said, "Did Pete explain to you the severity of the threat?" I went, "Well, not really." He just said it was, there was a threat, but he said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "Well, you're taking the security contract on from another company, but they ran the whole of Bristol. I mean, this company had like over 1,000 operatives." So, "Oh, okay, this is quite heavy. Not really used to that. Used to being in my own town where everyone knows me."
Yeah.
And I remember like we had a 2 or 3 week period where every night there were organised, orchestrated attacks on us.
Really?
And it's not like they'd come up and attack us. They were clever about it. Like they would come in, they'd start a fight. And they were the old door staff that we didn't know. And they would start a fight, you go and deal with the fight, and then suddenly they'd turn around on us, and it was all planned. And that was pretty scary. And it got to the point, I have to admit, where one night I was stood in the door and this lady from the pub next door come up. She said, "Look, I don't want to alarm you, but out the back," because we shared this back street, she said, "There's 4 guys that with crash helmets and baseball bats." Yeah. And they knew that that's the time we were about to lock the fire exits at the end of the night when everyone's there. And I just looked on the camera and I thought, "You know what? This is not worth the money. This is not worth it. We are days away from something very serious." As it happened, we kind of rode the storm, and they backed off and they left us. They must have thought we were like some super hard mercenaries or something. It wasn't. We were at breaking point, but they just thought, "You know, these guys are unbreakable. We'll leave them alone," and we stayed. But yeah, there's been lots of things, many different things.
So, obviously, as you've touched on, there's plenty of difficult situations for you to deal with. How do you de-escalate potential conflict situations? Again, particularly when you were young, how did you first learn to deal with that? Because it's quite a skill, isn't it?
It is quite a skill. I've always prided myself that I'm a talker, and I'm not a hands-on first. I will always try and de-escalate. By nature of who I am, I'm not a bully. I don't go in heavy-handed. I always knew I had the physicality to do it if I needed to, and I think that probably helped me because I knew that I had that as a last resort. Whereas a lot of people would rush in and just get physical. I just learned over time how to approach a situation, how to control the volume of my voice, when to be assertive, when not. And the most important thing was to stop, think, and assess the situation before you went in. Yeah. There were times, and I learned by mistakes. I've dealt with situations, it's all gone wrong, and like, what did I do wrong then? And one of the things about security is you're in a very ego-driven industry where it's very hard to sit there at the end and say, "Did I do enough? Didn't I do enough?" Because you're supposed to be this macho guy. Yeah. So you go home and these are all the thoughts that go through your head when you're at home, on your own, with your partner or when you're trying to sleep. Did I do enough? What do they think of me? Was I too heavy-handed to let the side down? So I learned a lot through experience. And then, of course, as time went on, physical intervention, conflict management training became much more needed. And I actually became a a physical intervention conflict management instructor myself, so I understood a lot more.
During the 1990s, we used to do a lot of work with Royal Marines,
Right.
and it was all about training to de-escalate conflicts, and also it was actually called hostile environment training, and they were running this for people like me who were going into war zones,
Right.
or dealing with difficult situations. And we spent, I think, 4 or 5 years filming all of this kind of stuff about how to deal with tricky situations.
Yeah.
And I learned so much, but it is an absolute, and excuse the pun because we really did use them, but it was a real minefield.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I bet.
And but it was great fun as well,
Yeah. And the thing is with it, you don't know how you're going to react until you get there.
Yeah.
And I've always said, if you're in a pub or a club environment, the hardest thing to deal with is an argument rather than the fight.
Yeah.
Because when there's a fight, you run to it, you deal with it.
Yeah.
But when there's an argument or it's starting to build, it's like, when do I intervene? When do I get... That's actually more stressful than a fight.
Yeah.
Because you've got to run in and deal with that.
And I suppose then, you've got a situation about not taking sides. And,
Absolutely.
And you could end up, I guess, I'm putting words into your mouth, but you could end up with a situation where they both turn on you then.
You do?
Yep.
Domestics, husband, wife.
Yep.
One of the worst. You get so many people come up to you, there's a guy over there who's been horrible to his wife. Okay, cool. You're like, well, why are you stood there watching? Well, I'm just observing for a bit to see what's going on. Because again, I've had that. You go in, suddenly, excuse me, sir, you're going to have to leave. Then the wife goes nuts.
Yeah.
Well, why? Whoa, hang on, I'm here to help you. No, but,
Got to watch out for those stilettos under those
Very
occasions.
careful.
Yeah.
Very careful.
Yeah. Recently, on the podcast, I had Phil Carpenter on here, and he's a close protection operative, and he's a really nice guy, completely bonkers, and he does mad things as well. You do close protection, and you've done that for some celebrities as well. Tell me a bit about this part of your life.
So my close protection introduction was slightly different to a lot, because a lot of them come... I saw some of the Phil interview, which is really good. He's a really nice guy. Mine was non-military background.
He was a military policeman.
Yeah,
of
he's
course,
military, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. My introduction, I always wanted to try close protection. Mm-hmm. And little did I realise, but I used to watch movies, and I used to love movies where there was bodyguards in it and stuff, and I love the Hollywood movies, so I probably romanced a little bit about that. But my introduction came in, it was 2010, Ricky Hatton was coming to Bournemouth.
Yep.
I'm a huge boxing fan.
Yeah.
And by now, I'd had quite a lot of experience in the security field, and there were certain jobs where you kind of skirted around close protection anyway, but not officially. And a friend of mine said, look, Ricky Hatton's coming to Bournemouth, they need some security for him, because at the time he was the biggest thing out there in boxing. And he said, would you do it? I said, yeah, of course I'd do it. And he said, well, what's your daily rate? I said, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. I love Ricky Hatton, no problem. So I started doing this, and that led on. It opened up a massive network of boxing. So through Ricky Hatton, I started doing some security work for Frank Bruno.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is a guy that I used to watch when I was a kid on TV.
Yeah. You're like the proverbial pig in.
Oh, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But I was doing this stuff for Ricky, and then Frank, and then different things span off from there. And then I realised, I thought, I want to get properly trained up because there's different training.
Yeah.
I want to get it properly licensed, get properly trained, and make a go of this. And that's what I did. I went away, did the training, and my close protection life kind of thing, and I still do it now. But yeah, lots of celebrities, music stars, TV stars. When I really got into it heavily was around the X Factor time, and
I worked on that program.
Did you really?
Yeah. Out in the field on their remote transmissions. Yeah.
So all the guys and girls, when they win that, they always used to make me laugh. But they would bring a life story book out. We would do the security for them. So I was up close and personal with all of them, like One Direction and Leona Lewis and all these people.
Right.
And I loved it. I had a great time. It was taking me away from all the pub and club stuff to working with professional people.
What about the mindset that you came across in your own mindset in doing the job? Because it's a very different field. Although you've still got to be a big tough guy. but it's very different, isn't it? Just sort of explain how you switch between those kind of roles.
Very different, and the difference with the close protection is you're so forward thinking. Well, you soon start to realise forward thinking, where you drive, because you've got to drive these people around. You've got to pick them up. Where you go. I've been on many jobs where we've been abroad. So you've got to start thinking about cultural differences.
Yep.
Language. Do you have someone in the team that can converse? You would employ someone local who might just work as a security guard at a supermarket, but they are the intermediary that you take with you. They'll do exactly as you ask of them, but they can communicate with locals.
A fixer.
The mindset was very different, and of course the difference with close protection, your priority is that person, that client. So it's a case of removing them. Whereas all my time in the pub and club was removing people from a pub or club.
Yeah.
But now we're removing the individual to keep them safe.
So the environment stays, the individual goes.
The environment stays.
What about the media? Because obviously in your individual close protection work, you're dealing with celebrities. There's much more of a media presence there as well. And particularly paparazzi can be a proper pain, can't they? I've had to deal with them myself, with my job. So how do you handle that?
So it depends on the client. I've worked with clients, females, for example, that will specifically say behind closed doors and say, well, when I get out of the car, I want to flash a little bit of something.
You're talking about photographers' flash here, aren't you?
Yeah. But there's certain shots that they want.
Yeah.
And they know what they want. Whereas they're the things where I'll go, well, we want to protect that, your dignity there. No, that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we allow that. I want that once.
Yeah.
And then we go, but okay. You'll get some who particularly don't want any media to get any shots at all. Mm-hmm. Some want to stop and talk. There are some that will go out of their way to talk to the public when the cameras are running.
Yeah.
When the cameras are not running, they don't.
Yeah.
But that's where you build up that rapport, because otherwise you'll suddenly get into the green room wherever you go. And like, Mark, in future, I don't want to be stopping to sign autographs. Okay, but yesterday you did. There was cameras there yesterday. Yeah, or you'll get the opposite. You'll get some that don't want the praise, but then behind closed doors they'll do anything they can for their fans. It's a real tough one.
Same with egos. You've got to massage the egos depending on who it is.
Absolutely.
Again, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you have to learn pretty quick there.
Very quick. I mean, I've worked with lots of people that are quite infamous or famous, and you've got the likes of Katie Price, Peter Andre. They know exactly how to manipulate the media, and there are a lot of times where people say, I can't believe they do this. They know exactly what they're doing all the time. These people are so experienced. If they don't want to be paparazzi, they won't be. They know how to not be. They know what to do. I mean, I've walked around Essex with Leona Lewis, who's one of the most lovely people. She does some stuff for an animal sanctuary called Hopefields up there, and she'll do like a 5k walk, and all the locals can come out and walk with her, and you just stand with her, stand by her side, nothing wrong. She just speaks to anyone. She's beautiful, wonderful person. But then you'll get some, it's like, right, you've got a 5-minute window, do this, and then we're out of there. And they're just very different.
And you can tell by the way they treat you as well.
Totally that.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's sort of my career, but obviously being the other side of things, being part of the media.
Yeah.
Sometimes people would want to be really your best mate.
Yes.
And as soon as the camera was off, particularly MPs, actually, I found.
Yeah.
As soon as the camera stopped, they could be deeply unpleasant, and footballers as well.
So my thing is with the media, I believe that if you're with someone you're doing a tour and you're going to come into contact with the media and the same ones lot, it's better to have the liaison with them.
Yeah.
And so, look, this is where we're at. As long as you'll get your 10 minutes, you'll get your this, just don't shove the camera in their face.
Yeah.
And then they're not going to flip out. Then I don't have to be the middleman who says you can't do it and get the brunt of it. So I think a lot of it is just respect. But unfortunately nowadays you've got so many unauthorised media, you've got YouTubers everywhere. It's very hard.
Yeah.
The pressure's on.
What are they called? Auditors?
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and they want confrontation.
yeah, and they're goading you, aren't they? As
Absolutely.
well. We've had it whilst we've been filming. It's they goad us, to try and get a reaction, and
Yeah, exactly.
it's not nice. What about? I mean, we touched on ego, but has anybody, without naming names, has any of your clients overstepped the mark with you, and you've just said that's enough, I'm walking away?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had clients. Funny thing is, not as much with the celebrity ones, because I think they realise a little bit more that, they need you, kind of thing. But I've had corporate clients that have gone into situations, and they might be like multi-millionaires. They've gone out for some fancy business lunch or the opening of a yacht somewhere, and they're wonderful and they're beautiful and they're great, and they have a few champagnes, and then they're like, we're not going to go there now, Mark. Now we're going to go here. So drive me here, please. And then the more drunk they get, the please and thank you start to go. And it's like, well, I pay you to do this. So, okay, yeah, there's a point to that.
Yeah.
And they can get over the top. And there's been several times where I've gone, okay, I'll always see the job out. Mm-hmm. I'll never walk off a job. But there's times where I've gone away and go, do you know what? This isn't for me. You're very disrespectful. And I'm not paid to take that shit, basically.
Yeah, and I know when I was chatting to Phil, there was occasions where no matter who it was, he was ultimately protecting their lives, as
absolutely,
you were, and he would say, no, what I say goes, and that's it.
He's right, exactly that.
And
that is exactly it. Because at the end of the day, I don't want someone to get injured, hurt, or ultimately killed.
Yeah,
because I wasn't assertive enough and didn't or impose that authority. So I'm doing it from a professional point of view. I'm sober, I'm calm thinking, I'm experienced. You're drunk, your ego. Do you know what I mean? And
level tone of voice as well. I've noticed it today, actually. You're very, very level,
Yeah.
You mentioned planning, and it's a big thing, isn't it? Like you've already said. But give me an insight into some of the kind of planning things that you would have to do that are perhaps beyond the obvious.
So I'll give you an example of a very weird job. I once looked after, it was a rhinoceros cup. Unbelievable. This thing was worth £2 million. But there was it was an insurance. It was being moved to an antique dealer's for an auction.
Right.
And it was a small piece of item. But there was a very high threat from the Chinese to steal this rhinoceros cup.
Right.
There was 4 of us looking after this tiny bit of kit. We had to go to a bank to collect it. It was in Winchester, and we had to drive it to this auction house. We had to plan every road, think about roadworks, any kind of potential obstruction or a hijacking. It was £2 million.
Yeah.
So it was 4 men and an auctioneer driving this car. We had to liaise with the police. So we had to think about the routes. We had to we had to vet everyone that came into the building for the auction, which is weird in itself because you don't normally do that.
Yeah.
Planning of routes, times. If you're going on a journey where you've got bridges, if you're using the train network, which you may well have to. There's lots. If you're driving someone, you've got to think about supplies, provision. Is the car too warm? Is the car too hot? Have they got water?
In our job, we do for each job. You may have seen it actually. A thing called a call sheet, right. and on that call sheet we put, like, apart from details about the job and contact numbers, we put things like nearest hospital.
Exactly that.
And things like that. So I guess that's
same
the kind of thing.
Yeah, same thing.
All right. So before we move away from your close protection wear, 3 quick top tips that anybody can use to de-escalate a situation that's getting a bit hairy.
Oh, that's throwing me.
Yeah.
Open palms.
Yeah.
Open palms. Never walk into a situation with your hands in your pockets or your arms crossed. Open palms. Assertive, but not rude, aggressive voice tone. There's a big difference between assertive and not like shouting and screaming. And eye contact.
Yeah.
Eye contact to me is very important.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to try and de-escalate a situation, you're looking around and you've lost control of that situation. So the eye contact, your physical approach, and your tone of voice.
Yeah, on the eye contact thing, I remember with the military stuff that I referred to, in sort of hot climates like, you know, Africa or in the desert, one of the things that we encouraged them to do was to take sunglasses off, because otherwise the person that you're approaching couldn't see their eyes.
So important, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So important.
Yeah. All coming back to me now. God, that's 30 years ago.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. You were still at school then.
I would have been.
Right.
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
God. So, you've already mentioned how keen you are on boxing. Give me a bit about that journey in your life. What?
So boxing is something that I did some white collar boxing myself. When I was young, I started boxing. I was about 13, 14, just as an amateur in an amateur club near me. But because I got into the door work, I realised that I needed to be bigger. It was all about size back then. It's not so much now. So I kind of left the boxing and started doing taekwondo and Muay Thai and different things. And then when I started my first security company, which was for myself, which was 2006, I then reunited my love for boxing, but I thought it'd be nice to get the guys doing boxing that worked for me. So I set up my own boxing club, and I got back into it then, and I had some white collar bouts. I've always loved watching boxing, and I've been very, very fortunate. My journey of boxing has taken me all around the world. Not just my security with boxing, but my love of boxing. I've trained with some greats, Lennox Lewis.
Oh, okay.
Ricky Hatton, I trained with him, which come off the back of the security with him.
So did he engage with you and chat with you about it and give you encouragement?
He did, yeah. And one of my very close friends, Scott Welch, who was the British and European heavyweight champion, and he was in the film Snatch.
Right.
You remember him? He fought Brad Pitt.
Oh, okay.
He's a good friend of mine. He owns a gym in Brighton where the Eubanks train. And 2017, I wanted to box on a show, and it was a WBC, the World Boxing Council show. And my friend Scott trained me for it, in conjunction with a local very good boxer called Steve Bender, actually, lives in Bournemouth. And Scott, I remember the night Scott walked me out, did the ring walk with me, and I won the bout. It was amazing, a beautiful moment, and I got a beautiful WBC medal. Wow. Now, to a lot of people it doesn't seem a lot, but the WBC is the World Boxing Council. That's the green and gold. That's the thing that Muhammad Ali won, that Mike Tyson won, that Lennox Lewis won. So although it was a very small part of that history, I've forever got that. Yeah. And so my boxing, and I love it. And I've done a lot with the World Boxing Cares, which is the charitable arm of WBC, and that's taken me around the world as well. And as I said, I've become friends with, like, Frank Bruno's a friend of mine now. I'm not saying we're close, but I can call him, and we can chat. So
linked to your love of boxing is your work with the local charity Changes Are Made.
Yes.
What have you been doing there?
About a year and a half ago, I created youth boxing training sessions. Now, these youth boxing sessions, they're unique in the respect that I've been coaching boxing for a long time, but I can see the deterioration, unfortunately, in the behaviour in youths, and it's very sad. And I wanted to do something where we could bring kids together with their parents if they want, bring kids together and say, right, you can learn to box. You don't have to compete, though. This is about life skills. This is about showing you there's another way, rather than going out fighting on the streets, getting involved with knives and things like that. So I started these youth boxing sessions, started them very close to here, actually, in Parkstone. And then it got recognised by a lady called Tracy, who runs a charity called Changes Are Made. Wonderful woman, but her grandson, sadly, he died a couple of years ago. He was stabbed in Bournemouth. His name was Cameron. So she massively goes into schools about the danger of knife crime on our streets, which is a huge problem right now.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And Changes Are Made, that's what they do. So the name, Changes Are Made, CAM, is Cam. Okay. That's his name.
Yeah.
So we run these classes, and in West Howe.
Right.
Sometimes we get 30 to 35 kids come through the door, and we teach them how to box. But I'm not here to make great boxers out of them. If they are, then brilliant. it's about giving them a place where they can be around other kids,
Yeah.
not fighting, not carrying knives,
Yeah.
not swearing, and not being disrespectful, and learning to be proper human beings.
I think part of society, and I don't want to dwell on this, but
Yeah.
part of society, when I was a kid, I used to go after school to like playing fields and stuff,
Yeah.
and there's no playing fields
Oh,
now. It's all gone. It's all been built on, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I know I watched them a little bit too much, but I love watching retro videos from the 80s now. And I look at it and I think, what did you do you went home from school, got on my BMX, played down the park, there was a pile of BMXs, we're having a little play fight, playing a bit of cricket, playing football.
Yeah.
You don't see any of that anymore.
No, they're all on Xboxes
They're on their
or
games.
PlayStation. Yeah.
And a lot of them are very violent games.
Tell me about some of the successes that you've had with changes are made.
I've seen kids come through which are notorious bullies on that estate. They come in and people are, oh my God, she's here or he's here and they're going to do this. I said, okay, well, that's why we're here. Let's give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring them in, you say, look, just so you know, you're very welcome, but we don't have bullying. We don't want to see the building getting trashed. Just be respectful. Oh, right, well, And I promise you, 3 or 4 weeks in, these kids are like perfect. They're like, they're turning up, they love their boxing, they're on time. And I'm a big believer that if you can give them that respect, trust in them a little bit, and give them a little bit back.
Yeah.
I've now got some of these kids, or we have, helping coach the brand new ones. And I'm like, whatever you do, please, if it comes out by accident, don't worry, but don't swear in front of them, don't talk about violence. Like, yeah, no, of course we won't. And I'm like, this is a mirror image, this is a polar image opposite of what you were 3 months ago.
Is there a danger for the skeptics around, right? Is there a danger that you're basically giving these kids fighting skills that they can then take out to their gang warfares?
So that, and I appreciate you saying that, but one of the things that frustrates me the most is when people say to me, boxing, I says, why would anyone teach boxing to learn respect? And I'm like, just come along, spend some time, watch what they do, because you'll realise that when those kids learn to protect themselves, they don't start throwing their hands around anymore.
Yeah.
Because they know the damage they can do, and they know the power in what they have. So they don't actually. Of course, you're going to get a rogue one that's going to do, but then they're not welcome. They come back and say, "Look, what did you do last weekend? We got into a fight." Well, this isn't the place. Well, you taught me. No, I didn't teach you to do that. I taught you a skill which you now need to control. Use it to protect your mum. Use it to protect your brother if he's getting beaten up. But you don't go out and throw your hands around just for the sake of it because of your ego. And I'll be honest, I don't know anyone that's ever got to that serious point. Normally a little chat and they rein it in a bit.
It's you can apply the same logic. It's a bit like the military,
yeah, exactly.
The Marines, for example, locally based, obviously. They're not going to go out on the street and shoot people this afternoon just because they can.
Exactly that. Exactly.
In fact, they're very well disciplined. Actually, these
very
guys
well
are.
disciplined.
Yeah.
I worked with a lot of Marines when I was started security because I said the guy that used to run the company was an ex-SBS. So half of them I didn't know were. Actually, they were like moonlighting. Yeah. But they were the best ones.
Yeah. Incredible calmness with those guys.
They were great.
Knife crime.
Yes.
You've already mentioned it. You're doing a lot of work in that area. Tell me about that.
So, it's something that I feel very strongly about. But a year and a half ago, I did a community meet and greet and talk with our local MP, Jessica Toll. She wasn't the MP at the time. She was a candidate, and she said, "Look, we're talking about anti-knife crime, talking about the nighttime economy, talking about issues that are important to the local community." And I said, "I'd love to come along and talk about it because I've dealt with knives through my security career. I've also done mentoring for children." So I understand why they're carrying these things. I'm not agreeing with it, but I understand why. And that's what we've got to break through. Anyway, I did this talk with Jessica. And if I'm honest, there was about 100 people in the room. Most of them wanted to talk about knife crime and the dangers in the nighttime economy. They weren't overly concerned with the state of the potholes and this and that. They were more concerned with the nighttime economy.
Yep.
I truly believe, and I'm pleased I did because I still do now, I believe that she wanted to make change for the right reasons. I'm not political. I don't have much preference, but I know if someone's doing something good, I'll support that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, this woman really, really means she wants to do this. So I've been in schools, colleges, talked about the knife crime and the importance of it. It's getting worse. There's no doubt about it. And everyone, I believe, is like, it's someone else's problem. Well, if we all say it's someone else's problem, nothing's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, the police need to do more. Yes, the government needs to do more. But my thing is, they can only do so much. Parents need to do more. Parents. And we need to do more. If we see a kid talking about knives, so hold on, I heard that. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Most of them will say, well, self-defence, or my mate, or peer pressure, or gangs.
If I can play devil's advocate, I imagine for a lot of people there's a fear of getting involved as well there.
Of course.
No,
there will be.
I mean, you've got the skills to handle yourself, but not everybody has, have they? And but I had actually a question written down about, do you think parents should do more?
Yeah.
And because what I see, I've got a school-aged daughter. She's just finished GCSEs. What I see, parents sometimes just absolve themselves of responsibility.
Yes.
And think, I'll leave it to the teachers, and then I'll blame them.
Exactly that. And when I say the parents, it's little things. It's like letting your children play games where they get rewarded for murdering and killing or buying prostitutes online. There's games out there that do this.
Oh, goodness.
If you let your kids do that, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Asking your kids what they do, do any of your friends carry knives? They all know someone that's carrying a blade.
Mm.
And it's quite sad because a lot of these kids are carrying stuff they don't want to.
Peer group pressure, you mean?
It's peer group pressure. And the problem is, as you know, from your experience with different things, it's like me carrying a gun. I don't want to carry a gun, but if I'm in a pub, I don't even know how to use it, and 10 guys start swearing at me and attacking me, red mist, am I going to use it? Maybe I will. I didn't want to, but it's there now. Instead of running away, and this is what these kids are doing. They're going out with these knives. They don't want to use them, but you've backed them into a corner now, and it's the first thing that comes out.
I don't want this to be a major part of our conversation, but just this, if somebody approaches you and they are carrying a blade, the best advice I've ever been given was actually by people from the SBS, and that's run away.
Absolutely.
Just turn and run, or back off and run,
Absolutely.
Don't engage.
Absolutely. You just walk away, step away, create a space and leave and get away. It's no point trying to tackle it.
I can't believe we've already gone through 40 minutes. And
Have we really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've still got a couple of things. So we'll go on a couple of minutes, but we need to be quick on these, all right? Acting.
Yes.
I know you've done some.
Yeah.
I understand that you met one of your heroes. Did he have green credentials?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Lou Ferrigno. I was in a film, a very small part, called Instant Death with Lou Ferrigno, the old Incredible Hulk. Mm-hmm. A dream come true for me. I didn't expect to meet him. I just thought I was turning up to do an extra on a film. And I spent time with the Incredible Hulk. Amazing.
Did you, or are you enjoying the acting side of your career?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I've got something coming up later in the year, which I've hopefully got. It's just, I'm doing things I enjoy.
Mixing with, A-lister or B-lister celebrities.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I remember we did a red carpet event in Soho last year for a pirate thing, which has gone to Netflix. It was tiny, but I was like, I felt $1 million.
Yeah.
So yes, suited up, red carpet, loved it.
We went to Nicolas Cage.
Oh wow!
We went to his house and spent the day there. And we'd been there filming with him all day. So it was to promote one of his films.
Brilliant.
And it was about 7 o'clock in the evening, and he lived near Glastonbury, in the shadow of the Tor. And I was stood out on his patio, just having a 20-minute chat with him, and you think,
surreal.
This is exactly that, surreal. What's your favourite programme on TV at the moment then?
Ooh,
or recently at least?
I watched that Moblands with Tom Hardy,
yeah.
Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Love that.
Right.
I love all that I love Guy Ritchie stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Mine's got to be Slow Horses.
Okay.
You've seen that?
I've seen bits of it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Gary Oldman, superb.
Yeah.
But I wondered if you were going to say Gladiators, which is an incredibly incredibly cool segue into what we're going to talk about. You've been working with an original Gladiator.
The original, the OG, Jeff. Yeah, so I went to a place called Mitcham last year to a Comic-Con. I'd seen that Jefferson King was their shadow. I thought I'd like to go and see him. It's a long drive, but I thought I've met most of my idols and kind of thing. But I thought I'll go up, see what it was like. Brilliant to meet him. And as I was talking to him, I realised he was on hard times. He's struggling. Mm-hmm. I'm a caring guy. I like to do stuff within reason. And I said, Jeff, if you want to come to Bournemouth, we'll put some events on. I think your old fans would love you. Anyway, he said, what, do you think they would? I said, yeah, I think so, Jeff. So we swapped details, brought him down to Bournemouth, did a nice evening at a place called the Crown Hotel in Bournemouth, in Poole. And it was a great success. People liked him. He was a good fun. I brought him down several times to do like one-to-one personal training sessions with him. And he basically asked me, he said, look, would you kind of like handle my business, or if you can get me bookings and things like that? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And once you're set up on your feet, then you do your thing. But yeah, I'm loving it, mate. He's been good fun.
You're going to have to book him onto my podcast. There you go.
Oh,
get
absolutely.
him a booking.
Yeah, I've had him on a few, so I'll get him down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You took him just down the road from here, Chicken and Blues.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw in an advert for a very, very great guest that we had on here previously, Rob Eaton, who runs Rob's Filling Station over in Poole. And you need to take him down there because that is fabulous food down there.
Definitely. I watched the Rob Eaton podcast. He's really nice guy, yeah.
And what he's trying to do for ex-military is fabulous.
Brilliant. Yeah, really nice guy. I like that.
Well, I think we had to sort of skip through some of the last bits there.
Yeah.
But what a fantastic
brilliant
40 minutes, isn't it?
Brilliant, yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
I hope you enjoyed it too, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Well, what a couple of shows to start the series after the summer break. Last week it was Katie Street, and this week it's Mark. So stay tuned, because the rest of the shows coming after this, they're going to be equally entertaining. See you soon.